motions for the speaker? Ready? Hearing and seeing none, we move forward to our next community speaker, Manuela and Isabella.
Hello, my
Ready?
name is Paula.
Oh, yep, the
Oh,
floor is
sorry.
yours.
And I
No,
want
sorry, the floor is yours. You're good, you're good.
thank
Yes.
you. Hello, my name is Manuela, and I want to expand further on issues here on campus. I serve as the vice chair of SMRP, the Sexual Misconduct Response and Prevention Subcommittee within the LSA student government here at the University of Michigan. For those who are not aware, our committee is committed to strengthening prevention efforts, improving response systems, and advocating for policies that center student safety and dignity. As a campus community, we have a responsibility to show students that they are not alone in what they experience here. Every report and concern deserves to be met with seriousness, care, and action, not silence, dismissal, nor doubt. Survivors deserve to be heard and believed, and they deserve systems that respond with consistency, compassion, and accountability. When students come forward, they are placing trust in this institution, and it is on all of us to meet that trust with integrity and a real commitment to their well-being. Moving forward, I have Isabella Suker here to the right of me, whom I will also refer questions to, but based on the expansion of answers.
Yeah, just to introduce myself, I'm Isabella. I'm the current vice president of LSA Student Government, and I served as chair of the Sexual Misconduct Response and Prevention Committee within LSA for the past year. And I just want to echo everything that Manuela said in support of this bill. I authored a very similar bill earlier to amend our own bylaws to require the SMRP committee to host a SAPAC workshop once a semester. So I fully support this bill, and I am in full support of its expansion into making it mandatory, as well as like have it multiple times a semester. I think that is very impactful. Yeah, and just to once again echo what Manuela is saying, I think that as leaders on campus, we have the responsibility of being a support system for students through all concerns, especially related to topics such as assault and sexual assault. And that really starts within our government. I think that having training such as this is crucial for being a resource for students, but also being a resource for each other, and for continuing to promote respect and making sure that everyone within our government and all governments across campus are respecting each other to the degree that is necessary, and that we can then expand that to students as well.
Thank you. That being said, are there any questions for our speakers? Representative Bushy? Before you continue, Bush, there's 15 seconds that persist, so is there a motion to extend time?
I motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
Motion has been made to extend time by 3 minutes. Is there a second? Second has been made. Are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, the floor is yours, Bush.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thank you guys for coming to speak today. I know it's busy with exams, so thank you for taking the time. First off, I was just curious, the SAPAC trainings, I think some members are worried that they may not be as effective for how much time is taken for them, but I think they're still important nonetheless. Are there other resources beyond just SAPAC trainings that LSASG is considering undertaking in addition to SAPAC trainings that CSG could also consider?
Yeah, I think for us, what we have actually done with SAPAC is we've reached out to them because we host their workshops during our general meetings, and obviously that is very much time constricted, and we want to make sure that it's staying efficient as possible. So what we've done is in the past is kind of asked for like a revised version where instead of like an hour and a half, or however long it usually takes, we have gotten it down to like 30 to 45 minutes, which is still a good chunk of time, but they are still able to go over the same amount of information within that time, which has been helpful. And outside of SAPAC, we have connections with different resources on campus, such as like DPSS, like we're in contact with officers there. So I think in the future, we're definitely looking to bring them into doing some sort of workshop. And besides that, we have like separate initiatives
Hey, I'm
that
live
are
on
not
stream
really
right
like
now. What's
training
up?
specifically, but we are looking to get resources such as
No,
drink
you're good. We
covers,
can text. How's it going?
like mandated in social establishments around campus, such as like bars, restaurants, looking into the Greek life aspect of that as well. So that is kind of something also on the side that would maybe like not take as much, that's a different resources for students. But yeah, I would say the main response is just kind of like having a more condensed version of those presentations have been like effective for us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Representative Frito.
First, let me ask the speaker, how much time do we have left?
A minute and 12 seconds.
Motion to extend time for 2 more minutes.
Motion has been made to extend time by 2 minutes. There a second? Second amendment. Any objections? Hearing and seeing none. Floor is yours, Rep. Frito.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for coming to speak on this issue. And I think one thing that we do get caught up in is we have a lot of good ideas in student government that end up stopping at student government. Not that it's not important to do here. And I don't know if you're familiar with that training that everyone gets in their email about the alcohol one, and I believe there's sexual misconduct one. I accidentally discovered the unfortunate reality that if you don't do it, there is no punishment. And I forgot to do it one semester, and I sort of looked into it, and I'm like, wait a minute, nothing happened. And my worry is that, especially if we limit this just to CSG or any student government, that it's not going to reach the ears that it actually needs to reach. And so my question to you is as follows. Do you think maybe like a 1-credit class or something like that, where people actually have to take it in their first semester on campus about sexual assault prevention and awareness training might be a way to actually enforce this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually attended and have been in a class, a sexual censorship study here at U of M. I'm actually going to be a peer facilitator this upcoming semester in it. Both Chloe and I, Chloe's SMRP chair, where I'm the vice chair here at here in student government, we have definitely spoken with professors who have been heavily involved within this. And just the overall idea of sexual censorship and what that means to be an individual in these cases. I feel like they have explained that they're looking forward for other opportunities and or ideas to kind of install a 1-credit course. However, they are looking and expanding on other ideas within that too that may be more attainable in a more efficient manner as well. But that's what I would have to say for that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Representative Neely.
Uh, yes, I believe I can take this. I believe I can take this question. Yes, so the class would, yes, the class couldn't hurt, but I will also note that in the bill, there is a solution to enforce the training, at least at the CSG level. Assembly reps would be assessed absences for not going, just like with the DEI training. And it also specifies that members of the executive branch or the judicial branch who don't attend the training and don't have a good excuse would be subject to discipline from their head of branch. So I am still, President Louth is a co-sponsor on the resolution, so I assume he's going to enforce it on his own executive branch. I am still in talks with our new Chief Justice Yen about what enforcement can mean for the judicial branch.
All right. With that being said, the time for the speaker has expired. All right. Moving on to our next community concerned Heba. The floor is
Hi,
yours.
thank you. Hi, my name is Hiab Tashome. I'm a 5th year in the MD PhD program here and currently the president of the Graduate Employees Organization, GEO. And I'm here to speak in support of the resolution supporting the release of a U of M worker in ICE detention like Joe was. The situation has been quite horrific. Philippe was a graduate student who was a GSI during the winter of 2025 and was unfairly terminated and violated our graduate student instructor contract. With that, when he was fired, he was then charged a $38,000 student fee That was again another violation of our contract, and this resulted in him no longer being able to be in status as a worker or as a student. This ultimately led to his detention to his ICE detention. And like Joe described, the conditions have been horrific. He has barely any food. He is making choices between having medicine and having food. There's constant light. And the mental toll has been quite horrific, and it's been 2 weeks. Ultimately, the circumstances leading to his detention and his inhumane conditions that he has endured are not isolated failures, but the direct result of Taubman College and the university's action. We have seen that the university is willing to sacrifice the most vulnerable workers, including most recently the deaths in the EECS department of the international researcher who was visited by DHS. Graduate workers have been not allowed to have remote work authorizations when they are stuck out of the country, as well as the detainment of 3 visiting grad students at U of M. This is a long pattern that the University of Michigan has had to attack vulnerable workers, and we have a responsibility to protect our community. And right now is a very real situation in which we together can protect our coworker and a fellow student. The support for our colleague has been incredible. Organizations and unions throughout the university have supported this effort to release our coworker. And these letters, which is what this resolution is about, can make a difference for Philippe's life. Every single letter matters. We know what the stakes are. The stakes are very real. People die in ICE detention centers, and you have the ability to save a person's life. So I urge you to support this resolution. Thank you very much.
Hey, Representative Turner or Sadie?
Yeah, this is Sadie here. I just wanted to ask, should this resolution not go through, is there any way on a personal level and at a personal capacity that representatives could send in these letters? And how, if so, how would we go about doing that?
Sadie, time has expired. Is there a motion to extend time?
Motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
Motion has been made. Second, are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none. Right, you can continue.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone here in this room, I urge you to write a letter of support. These bond release letters really matter to the immigration judge and can ultimately lead to his release on bond. We have a website that I can put in the chat that has guides for how to write a bond release letter. And you can write those letters in your individual capacity and send them to umgeo@geo3550.org. And we have been giving those letters to his family members.
Can I make a point of parliamentary inquiry for the chair, I guess?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if that would be the right point, but I wanted to ask, like, so based on my understanding of the bill, right now it's being said that it's out of order because we're a sponsored student organization, but I'm just wondering, like, how this bill would be any different than an amicus curiae, which is Latin for friend of the court thing. I don't understand why this would be out of order. Is there anyone that could explain why?
Yes, I was informed by SGC Burke as well that I know there's been conversations with General Counsel that Isabella had regarding this resolution. I don't know if Mr. Wonderful SGC Burke, if you have any added extra info about that.
Yeah, I don't have anything more to add other than this information was given to us by the Office of the General Counsel, which is the university's counsel.
Yeah. So
point of I guess point of information. Is there any way that the assembly could also, since we're sort of party to this, see what information we're receiving, or is that like not our policy?
Can I have a point of information?
Sure.
I have further information, which I will discuss after all the speakers are finished, but I will discuss it further.
Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Bushy?
Hey, thanks for coming to speak tonight. I was just curious. So from what I understand about the incident, it sounds like it was like a financial mistake. I was just curious if you could detail it, like if it's like public information, or if it's not a situation that's able to be shared, that's fine. But I was curious what mistake or purposeful action the university made to cause this event to happen.
Is it okay to respond?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is public information and it's on the website. But essentially what happened is he was a GSI during the winter of 2025 and he had a waiver for the class that he was teaching. Topman realized that he did not take that class, and they removed him from his GSI position, even though he had a waiver to teach that class and was recruited by the lecturer to teach that class. When he was removed from that GSI position in our contracts, one, there should be a termination that is followed process, and also grad students who are employed should be able to keep the benefits of their employment, which include things like stipend and tuition waiver. When he was removed, there was another error where they charged him the $38,000 legal fee, student fee for his tuition, despite the fact that that is a violation. And so as a result, what this did is he tried to apply to fellowships, he tried to apply to scholarships in order to cover that $38,000 fee so as he can remain a student. But the Taubman, and specifically Dean Jonathan Massey, refused to acknowledge that this was something that was happening despite the fact that he was emailing him. And as a result of this, he lost his status as a student. So he lost his status as an employee and worker and also as a student. And this is all a result of Taubman College and the university.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions for the speaker? All right, hearing and seeing none, we will move forward on the agenda. Thank you to our next speaker, Aaron Neely.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I do need to talk about some things, not directly about any agenda items because that's out of order. And sending threats to people or their families, you need to stop. I will eventually be pushing some ethics reforms through, so please just let us do our jobs. File complaints once they open up. Don't harass people. Don't create an environment where people are afraid to report what is happening to them. And I'll gladly take any questions or comments at this time.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Nico?
I was just wondering when we could expect like a kind of, I guess, fully operating ethics committee and when that those like proposed reforms would be, I guess, suggested. I know you had made them in a previous resolution. I don't believe that's passed yet. So yeah.
Yes, you're correct. It has not passed yet. I've decided to split the proposed reforms into two bills, one for the actual code of ethics itself.
Representative Neely, time has expired. Is there a motion to extend time? Rep. Pareto?
Motion to extend time by 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Is there a second? Any objection? Hearing and seeing none. Ms. Neely, you can continue.
Yes. So I was going to motion to introduce part two, just introduce, not pass. I acknowledge. I'm sorry, President Lath, did you say something?
Yeah, I have a point of information.
Yeah.
I want to make it very clear that I called this meeting. I called this meeting because a student was detained by ICE, and I respectfully urge the assembly to focus on the extremely urgent matter under which we called this meeting. While all of the issues we are tackling are extremely important, I do respectfully ask that we let those wait for official CSG meetings and not ones that were specially called to order for a specific purpose. Thank you.
Right, exactly. I'm right, exactly. I'm not calling I'm not
Point of
calling
order
any
for the
votes at
speaker?
this point.
Yeah. Sorry, Reverend Freedom.
Point of order. I believe that we are allowed to consider any of this business, and regardless, like I very much am sympathetic towards the situation here, but we can discuss all this business here, and I think that we shouldn't pit like very serious situations against each other. I think.
You're okay. Representative Neely?
Uh, yes, thank you. So anyway, yes, President Louth, you're correct. I won't take up I won't take up unnecessary time talking about procedure, but just to answer the question posed by Representative Torres de Navarra, I hope to have the reforms passed after our next regular meeting and the members nominated so that then May 6th we will have the ball rolling right away. And I hope that works for everybody in light of the need to focus on the urgent situation at this meeting.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the speaker, Representative Freedom?
Yeah, I had a question. So, like, there was, as I recall, some signs made a couple weeks ago that specifically named a specific university body for investigating. And I'm wondering, like, if the goal is to not intimidate people from reporting things, do you think it's acceptable to name a specific university body and pressure them to investigate someone?
It is our exercise of our right to freedom of speech as an assembly to exert pressure on other branches of government, peaceful pressure, to exert pressure on bodies of the university. Is this not what we exist for as a central student government, to take the concerns of the students to bodies of the university?
Representative Freedom?
Point of order. I believe we are to represent the different unit colleges here and the concerns of all students. And then, if appropriate, we also abide by the 6th student rights and privilege, which includes due process and privacy, which I don't think you mentioned.
Reporting.
Excuse me, if I may make a proper point of order. The point of order shouldn't be abused for individuals to make a statement on whatever they wish. Mr. Speaker, I call on you to not allow those.
Thank you. Bushy?
Sorry, my point of order was the same. This isn't a time for back and forth.
Thank you. Rep Neely?
Yes, but just to respond to that statement, reporting is not a violation of due process. If people have gone to the university through a confidential process and it has gone nowhere, then it is our job to make it public in order to put pressure upon the university to take the complaints of students seriously. We need to be representing our student body both all together and one at a time. This is not an issue of one people or a few people. This is an issue that affects dozens and dozens of our students that I have heard of. And if people object to reports being made,
Neely, the time has expired.
Motion to extend time by 2 minutes.
Motion is made to extend time by 2 minutes. Is there a second? Is there a second to extend time by 2 minutes?
Yeah, I second.
Second has been made. Are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none.
I object.
Oh, objection has been noted.
I'll just withdraw my motion then to save us a vote.
All right. With that being said,
thank you.
we're moving forward on the community concerns. Our next speaker, Sadie.
Hello, everyone. I Aaron, do you have a point of something? Do you have a motion before I speak?
Sorry, my hand was still up on Zoom.
Yeah, no worries. I just wanted to respect your yeah, I wanted to respect you. I am just speaking out in my personal capacity as a representative to say that the conditions that Philippe is under and the conditions that obviously any person is under within ICE detention centers is absolutely horrific. It is reprehensible. It is just frankly unethical. And we as a student body, or at the very least, individual representatives of this body, should be looking to find ways to support him and to support his, his freedom, and to find a way to make sure that his safety as a student, and or as I should say, unfortunately, a former student of this university, we should be looking to protect students at every single bend and turn. I think that is, if we're talking about what CSG is here to do, I think our number one priority should be protecting students. And what is more important than looking to protect this student who has been specifically targeted by ICE and has been detained in horrific conditions? So I just wanted to say, with whatever capacity that I can support Philippe, I intend to do so, and I would like to call on each and every one of you to do this, to do the same. I know there are some concerns with some of the measures that we're looking to take during this meeting, but I think that regardless of those concerns, we should find a solution, and we should find a way to support, if not as a body, as individual members, we should look to support him in every capacity. So if should this resolution not be available or permissible under our code of conduct and all of the above, all of our legislation, I'll be looking to put forward a letter between the representatives here as personal actors and representatives of CSG. I'll be looking to put together a letter for just us. So if anyone's interested in that, they should contact me, because we need to be protecting our students in every single capacity.
Sorry, Katie, the time has expired.
Motion to
Representative
extend
Frida.
time by 3 minutes.
Motion has been made to extend time by 3 minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Second has been made. Are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none. 3 minutes. The floor is yours, Sadie.
I guess I'm just opening it up to questions because I was pretty much finished with my spiel. So if anyone has anything.
Rep. Frida.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the intent of 16008. I believe neither of you on the call there are authors, but I wanted to ask, is the plan that you know of, as far as you know, to amend that bill and pass it, or are we just using this meeting as a platform and not amending it tonight?
So I'm neither an author, like you said, and also I think it's not proper to discuss resolutions as members during community concerns. Correct me if I'm wrong. CSG Burke, Rules Chair, Mullins.
Point of order. No, you cannot discuss current business within community concerns.
So yeah, I'm speaking. I'm not gonna accept that question. I'm simply going to speak as someone who is concerned about the situation, which coincidentally happens to be the topic of one of our resolutions. So
Right.
Actually, Williams written.
Are there any other questions for the speaker? Hearing and seeing none, we will move forward on the agenda to our next submitted community concern. Hi, everyone. As I cannot be there tonight, I just want to express the support for the resolution of business tonight. Not only is this something that Tubman students have been fighting heavily for in our own respect, but this is something that the entire campus community should be fighting for and has been For some background on how this has been handled by our school, the dean of our college has sent numerous emails claiming that we don't understand the full story and that we are not doing anything productive for him. He has claimed that Tubman is doing everything that we can, but cannot interfere. Felipe's hearing is scheduled for this week, and I'm asking each of you for support and asking the university to advocate for him. There are multitudes of ways to support if this resolution does not pass tonight, and I encourage you to reach out to anyone signed on to this bill for more information. Reach out to Natalie about that. With that being said, our last community concern, Ariel.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. The floor is yours.
Sounds good. Yeah, I was asked to show up regarding the mandatory state pack training for CSG along with sexual assault and prevention on a broader note. I'll start with yes. Online state pack training is technically required, though often ignored. There is no consequence for ignoring it at present. And I am of the opinion that this and more training, especially for CSG, where there's at least some amount of power and institutional presence, should be imperative. I have personally been assaulted off campus and harassed on campus, and in effect, aside from going, hey, this happened to me, what's up? Support resources, present. Much else? No. Now, there are obviously some logistical reasons for this, and I'm not going to get into it, but in short, it's not very surprising. This included at one point where I almost got hit by a car when I was cycling because someone was staring at me for too long. Couldn't tell you exactly where. In any case, I have also had other friends who have been assaulted and harassed, who knew and were able to report it to the university, and in general, the university was either unable or unwilling to do a whole lot, sort of proving that a culture of where assaulters are either, to be frank, afraid of being the social consequences of sexual assault is mandatory, and I think that a good start would be for CSG to sort of lead the way and institute mandatory safe act training. Any questions? I'm done. Or that's it. That's my note from me.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speaker? Representative Neely?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ariel, for coming tonight. Hey, I so I wish to ask for your perspective on why do you think people would be opposed to this training or to generally reporting and talking about sexual assault, and what would you say to those people?
All right.
Before you continue, time is about to expire. Is there a motion to extend time? Nico?
Motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
How many minutes?
3.
You said 3. I didn't hear you, Nico. 3? Okay, motion to extend time by 3. Is there a second?
I'll second.
The second has been made. Are there any objections to extending time by 3 minutes? All right. Hearing and seeing none, we'll
I
continue.
object, sorry.
There's an objection that has been noted. With that being said, we can move into a period of voting for hand voting. Everyone that is in favor of extending time by 3 minutes, please raise your hand on Zoom. If you're in favor of extending time by 3 minutes, raise your hand if you are in favor of extending time by 3 minutes. Alrighty, everyone lower your hands. Everyone raise your hand if you are against the motion for extending time by 3 minutes. Raise your hand if you're against extending the time by 3 minutes. Lower your hands. Everyone raise your hand if you would like to abstain from the vote. In the eyes of the chair, the ayes have it. Ready. With that being said, the floor. It was 7-6-1. Ooh, you are correct, SGC work. With that being said, it does fail because it was 761. With that being said, time has expired, so we are moving forward on the agenda to our reports, starting with our amazing executive team. Summit.
Thank you. I have no concrete like written report. All I have to say is what has happened in relation to the resolution. I want to begin by clarifying how important this student's detention and their safety is to me. And there is absolutely nothing that I believe is more important to prioritize than student safety. With that being said, we are not moving forward with this current resolution as written per the feedback we received from administration. Administration has informed us that CSG cannot make statements on specific cases on behalf of the university as a whole. CSG is a sponsored student organization, meaning that we are organized under the university similarly to other departments. Similar to how LSA or Taubman can't make statements on behalf of the entire university, neither can we. While we were not pointed to a specific policy behind this, CSG is and will continue to work with administrators amicably to meet the needs of our student body. After conversations I've had with several administrators, I believe we are moving in a positive direction and are finding a path forward towards supporting him. For those of you who were affected by everything we've heard tonight, from all the community concerns we've had about Philippe and his detention, you are free to write a letter in your personal capacity and not as a CSG official expressing support for Philippe, and you are free to send it to umgo@go3550.org. I'll put the email in the chat again. And they can make sure that Philippe's lawyer receives it so that the letters can be read during his bond hearing. If you want a template showing how to write a letter, feel free to look at the resolution and write something, similar in your personal capacity. Over the past few days, I have met with the Dean of Taubman and the Dean of Student Life, who have both affirmed the importance of this issue to me. And I have met and spoken multiple times with Regent Paul Brown, who is doing everything in his power to support the student and has indicated that he plans on writing a letter for the purpose of supporting the student in his ongoing struggles. While we will not be moving forward with this specific resolution, I would like to affirm that we will continue to do everything in our power to support our student body and are enthusiastic to continue our conversations with administration on this subject. If you want more information, if you want to know what my conversations with Dean Massey from Taubman look like, if you want to know more about Philippe's general situation, meaning like just how he's doing, how he got to the position he's in, feel free to reach out to me and I can explain to you, or I can refer you to people who can. Other than that, that's I would also like to just briefly say that while I appreciate all members of the community who come out to speak to us, I called this meeting because there is a student in detention. There is a student who's actively being imprisoned by ICE, and that is the purpose of this meeting. I am supportive of SAPAC training. I sponsored the resolution on it. However, the purpose of this meeting was to address a literal emergency. That is why it was called, and that is what I would like us to focus on, despite the fact that we could, if we wanted, focus on other things. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the executive team? Representative Freedom?
Mr. Speaker, how much time do we have left in this report section?
1 minute and 25 seconds.
I guess I'll motion to extend time by 6 minutes.
Motion has been made to extend time by 6 minutes. Is there a second? Is there a second to the motion to extending time?
To explain my motion, I thought we were going to talk about the item of business that Mr. President just talked about for the purpose of this meeting. So that's why I'm extending time.
Motion has been made to extend time by 6 minutes. Is there a second? All right, hearing and seeing none, that dies for lack of a second.
All right, then.
Are there any questions for the executive team? Representative Frida?
Yeah, no, I definitely have a question. So I'm just confused as to why this is out of order. And before I get to my question, I wanted to highlight some previous resolutions that did the exact same thing, and I just don't understand what's different. If there's a policy difference, I believe in the 14th Assembly, if you go to pass legislation, we had multiple different cases that we were addressing, and specifically, I believe some of the protesters and talking about their release. And I don't know if we were contacted privately by University Council. And if you go even farther back in the past legislation tracker, there are multiple other resolutions that you can go into that specifically mention multiple cases or past cases in them. And I'm just wondering, what was the rationale, if not a specific thing? And did you give any response to that you can give to us publicly?
Summit, before you continue, time has expired. Is there a motion to extend time?
I don't know if I can make the motion, but I motion to extend time.
You can't. Revenue. Sadie?
Motion to extend time by 5 minutes.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Seconds were made. Are there any objections for a 5-minute extension? Ready, hearing and seeing none. Mr. President, floor is yours.
Yeah. So yes, the CSG has passed these resolutions in the past. I'm not familiar exactly with the ones on the protesters specifically. But what I was specifically told by admin was that we can pass resolutions on general ideas. However, we cannot make statements for the entire university on a specific case. That is my understanding of it. I think you asked what my response was when they presented these things to me. My response was I basically tried to figure out how to proceed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do everything I can in my personal capacity to support the student in whatever way I can. And in my capacity as student body president, I'm going to continue meeting with administrators and pushing them to do everything they can. When they said that the resolution was when they recommended that the resolution be ruled out of order, I asked them to cite what rule. I asked them to cite what rule said that it was a violation or that we couldn't do it. I haven't been provided that citation yet. And I asked whether we could, as a CSG, could sign on to Regent Brown's letter, to which we also don't know the answer to, because we don't know if Regent Brown is writing that letter in his personal capacity or not. So that's my understanding of the situation as it is. Yeah.
Representative Neely?
Yes, thank you so much, President Louth. What I would like to ask is then, because we cannot pass it looks like we cannot pass the resolution as originally written, and yet we have placed a lot of emphasis on keeping the focus on the student in immigration detention at this special meeting. Then I guess, what are your goals for the rest of this meeting time specifically for what we as an assembly can and should do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sorry, Devin, can I answer?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm sorry. What I recommend we do for the remainder of this meeting is we discuss and feel free to shoot this down because it's your assembly, not mine. We discuss ways that we as an assembly can support this student because they do have a bond hearing on Monday that decides whether or not they are free until their subsequent immigration hearings. It also decides how much they have to pay, which I think is extremely important. And I want to find a way to do something as an assembly. It doesn't have to be right now. It doesn't have to be in the form of a resolution. It just, I do want to do something. And if there is nothing to discuss, then like we can leave, but all of us were here to represent students and to ensure their safety. And I think there is nothing, and I mean nothing, more important in CSG than the safety of students. And this is something where we can tangibly actually help a student get free.
Thank you. Sadie or Representative Turner?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, this is obviously this turn of events, especially because in my understanding of why this could be unacceptable as a bill or as a resolution, it would be the concern that this is potentially lobbying on behalf of the university, which is not allowed within our rules. But I find this incredibly disappointing that the university is shooting this down as both, as a representation of our autonomy as a body, and as well as our like being able to represent students and their safety.
Sadie, before you continue, time has expired. Is there a motion to extend time?
I'll motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
Perfect.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second is made. Any objections? Hearing and seeing none. Continue, Sadie.
So I just I want to express my extreme frustration and disappointment, not only with the university, potentially putting us in this situation by forcing this student to, by, essentially removing this student's, ability to work and this ability to be a student at this university, which then led to his, incarceration and kidnapping and incarceration. I want to express my disappointment and extreme frustration with all of this. With that being said, can I ask you said that we're allowed to make statements that are obviously not on behalf of the university. And are we allowed to make statements in our in our kind of capacity as a representative? Are we allowed to sign off on letters of support with like representative of LSA from, are we allowed to do that as representatives? Just so I can clarify so that we can look for some next steps here.
Can I go, Devin? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah.
So my answer to the question of whether we can make statements in our professional capacity is to be honest, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes CSG makes a statement and the statement is taken well. Other times CSG makes a statement and it is considered speaking out of turn. I don't know. I don't know what statements I can and cannot give. I don't know what statements the student government can and cannot give. The best way to sum it up is that the way that it seems like CSG has been operating is that you can make a statement in your capacity unless administrators tell you that it is not okay. And for that reason, I would say that before making an official statement, you need to ask admin.
Can I make a point of parliamentary inquiry, and can I defer the question that I just asked to SGC Burke, as well as ask if there's any precedent for kind of signing things as a representative? Probably not in regards with a legal case, but signing things as a representative in support of things while not signing things as, a whole CSG body, if that question makes sense. I know that was kind of roundabout.
Interim SGC Burke. Mr. Burke. We'll come back to that. Is there a motion to extend time? Time has expired.
Motion to extend time by 6 minutes.
Motion has been made to extend time by 6 minutes. Do we have a second? Second has been made. Are there any objections to extending time by 6 minutes?
Also, just point of order, Mr. Burke in the chat responded to your question.
Thank you, sir. 6 minutes has been accepted. Sadie, did you have anything more, Sadie?
No, not really. Just wanted to say I'm disappointed and I'm frustrated. And I think that this is not only incredibly upsetting that we cannot speak about probably one of the most important issues on campus and one of the most important issues for student safety on campus, especially because there's no saying, what comes next when it comes to immigration, enforcement and ICE kidnappings on campus. So I just want to say I'm disappointed, and the university needs to figure this out, because this will not be the last if we do not.
Thank you. So for speakers list, I have Summit and then Representative Frida.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So I also want to make it very clear that all of I met with the Dean of Taubman on Monday. I spoke with Regent Brown on briefly on Sunday, and then I had a meeting with him today. And all of the meeting with admin, in which OGC, the Office of the General Counsel, sort of made their decision, was very shortly before this meeting, like maybe an hour or so before the meeting. And so yeah, SGC Burke was not involved. My own VP wasn't even involved. It was literally just a meeting that was quickly called between me and some other me and people who wanted to express that OGC has concerns about the resolution. And I sort of do want to echo Sadie's sentiment in that this is an incredibly important issue. And
Guys, we're going to be clip farming.
while this
Get ready.
resolution was ruled out of order, we as an assembly and I believe should try to find some sort of way to help this student, and that I will do whatever I can to help this student. But I also want to provide a very solid answer to the question of whether you can sign on to a letter as a representative of the student government. The answer is just flat out no. I cannot sign I cannot sign on to a letter like that saying that I'm the student body president. That was something that was explicitly no. Can't use the CSG letterhead, can't use the title of student body president. And I am assuming it is going to be the same thing for CSG representatives. You cannot use the title of representative of the student government in there.
Thank you so much. Representative Frida.
Yeah, I just wanted to sum it up based on the things that I have read and researched on this, both in my time in the past serving in CSG and also with experience with student orgs. First and foremost, I want to say that I'm not making a statement that says anything about that President Louth is not doing enough, because we are in the infancy of the 16th Assembly, and I just don't want it to be interpreted in that way. The main thing that I wanted to get to is that I feel like we need to change the fact that we're accepting dead ends like past assemblies. So based on my understanding, there are sponsored student organizations and voluntary student organizations. A sponsored student organization is different from a voluntary student organization because it has a department that sponsors it. However, there are numerous sponsor student organizations in the law school, in LSA, that function as pre-law orgs, where they specifically not only make statements about specific legal cases, but they even refer students asking for legal help to specific resources. And if they're sponsor student organizations and we're a sponsor student organization, that doesn't make any sense to me. And not only that, I firmly believe that this rationale we were given is false unintentionally. And I believe that in the bill itself, it says that CSG is speaking for itself. If those orgs are allowed to speak, we should be allowed to speak too. And I think it could just be sort of talking past each other and maybe a misunderstanding, or the university's taking extra precaution. But whatever the reason, it's not good enough, and we don't have to settle for another dead end, because I feel like that happens a lot, and I hope that we can change that as the 16th Assembly. Thank you.
Summit, is there a response? Yeah, for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be very brief, and I'm gonna say I don't disagree.
Alrighty. Bushy?
Yeah. I just wanted to mention, obviously it seems like sort of the university wants to imply that our hands are tied. I think whether or not that is true, it is really important for us, even as individuals, to recognize that a member of our community is sort of being harassed on a campaign of
Bushy, time has expired. Is there a motion to extend time? Rep Frida?
Motion to extend time by 4 minutes to exactly 9 p.m.
4 minutes has been motioned. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, the floor is yours. Bushy?
The anti-immigrant attitude has evolved with its anti-intellectualism in our country, and it is important for us as a community to stand together. Recently, I also don't know, I've been meaning to bring this up, but Matters Arising has been a little busy. A graduate student within the College of Engineering committed suicide following intense investigation by federal law enforcement. And this is, I don't know, obviously, I don't want to make any statements about, why the person decided to do that. But at the end of the day, the increased pressure put on our establishment to protect each other is incredibly important. It's important for us to fight back against that. So I appreciate, even if our hands are tied, the fact that we tried to step up is important, and I think we ultimately can take up action on our own accord, and hopefully we'll find a way as central student government to do something about this. So, as it stands, Summit, is there any other way beyond the specific case of the Taubman graduate student? Is there any other ways we can minimize and stand in solidarity with international students on our campus, and find different ways to defend against this sort of state-sponsored witch hunt against intellectuals in America?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, and I'm gonna start by saying I agree entirely with the premise of it. The best way that I think we as CSG can do something, like as an assembly, is to pass some sort of resolution, or to pass a resolution just unequivocally condemning this sort of behavior. That's not case by case, and it's something we can do, is we can make statements as CSG. Something else I would say is again, in your personal capacity, you can do the letters, but I would also recommend that I am doing everything in my power to meet with these administrators to express how important it is, to express like just how vital it is that we make sure that students feel protected from the horrific activity we're seeing from ICE and from the federal government. And I think that what you can do and what I will help any assembly member do is schedule those meetings. Like I'm being so serious. Send me a DM on Slack, say I want to meet with this person, and I will send you an email introducing. If you want to meet with the Dean of Talman to express your support, you can do that. If you want to meet with Dean Jones to talk about it, I will try to schedule a meeting. The only office, to be honest with you, that I can't schedule a meeting with is OGC, is the Office of General Counsel. I've been told, and it's my knowledge, that I actually can't meet with them for some, you know, I'm assuming it's for some very valid separation reasons. I don't really understand what it is. But any other group you want to meet with, I will try as hard as I can to get you connected. I also know that Geo is in communication with the student. Is in communication with the student's sister. I spoke to the student's sister.
Mr. President, the time has elapsed. Is there a motion to extend time?
Motion to extend time by 5 minutes.
Motion has been made to extend time of 5 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been made. Are there any objections to extending time by 5 minutes? Madam Chair Mullins, is that an okay? All right, hearing and seeing none. Summit, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I spoke to the student's sister extensively. Elena, do you have like a point of information or anything like that, or are you just raising your hand?
Yeah, I have a point of information. You can motion for there's not necessarily anything against it or for it, but you can appeal out of order motions from the chair, but it's vague in the code. So it is up to precedent within the 15th Assembly whether or not that has actually succeeded before. And I defer to Burke and those who have actually been a part of the 15th Assembly on whether or not that has worked before.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That is something you could do. Um, uh, I have been speaking to the student's sister, and she has been updating me and a lot of other people about the student's conditions. And if you want to help out any student organization on campus who is writing letters for Philippe, trying to send care packages to him and all that, I can do my best to try and get you connected if you message me and express interest. But apart from that, I don't know how much else we can do as a student government.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the executive team? Ready. Hearing and seeing none, we will move forward on the agenda. We didn't, Nico?
I'm just gonna motion to have all of the to consider all of the resolutions introductions introduced, just so we can keep the topic of conversation on this.
Including AR 16008.
Point of order, aren't they already considered to be introduced?
Yes.
It's just to skip that. Well, no, because they haven't been like we would just skip that part of the meeting, and if we wanted to talk about one of them, you could then motion to not include that in this motion or motion to bring it to business. This is just to keep that topic conversation on this and also just make the meeting go quicker.
Point of order.
Wait, Nico, are you
You
saying
can
that?
motion for a referral back to committees to keep it alive.
That's okay. That's what I was. Yeah. So essentially, there would be motion to consider all these resolutions introduced and for them to go back to committees for second reads.
Alrighty. A motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second has been made. Are there any objections to the motion? Alrighty. Hearing and seeing none. That is so moved. With that being said, equally as well, we didn't have committees this week, so no reports are attached. executive noms attached to report. And then for my report, it's just going to be a verbal report tonight. And so I have two resignation letters to read. One from Victoria that says, "Hi, Devin. I just wanted to let you all know that I'm officially resigning from my seat as an LSA representative, as I've been appointed as the interim chief of staff of the 16th Assembly. Please let me know if you have any questions or anything else on my end. Best, Victoria." And then the second letter of resignation I have is from Ryan, the School of Social Work. Dear members of the 16th Assembly, I'm writing to formally resign from my position as the School of Social Work representative in the 16th Assembly, effective upon the Speaker's recipient of this letter. Being a part of the 15th Assembly in this has been a little bit of the 16th Assembly has been an immense honor and privilege. Thank you to everyone who has been welcomed into the space and who has helped me navigate the crazy realm of CSG. Even though I ended up in this position by being voluntold by someone in the School of Social Work, I'm so grateful that I did. That being said, I would like to highlight some of the hardships that I faced in CSG and that I'm sure that many of us can relate to. From the first meeting I was a part of in the late 2025 up until the last meeting, there have been individuals who have made the assembly into a toxic and harmful environment. I will refrain from naming names, partly because I would like to avoid legal repercussions. I have no money. I'm a social worker, but also because everyone knows exactly the people I'm referring to regardless. The assembly is full of so many bright minds and ideas, and although I may not agree with some of them, I thought that it was implied that myself and others would still maintain respect. I was horribly wrong. In my time in assembly, I've witnessed members perpetrating everything from disrespect to harassment and to abuse. Not only that, but when these disgusting behaviors were called out, they're denied, invalidated, and minimalized. As a result, the assembly has become a victim's nightmare where we're consistently subject to either sharing space with our direct perpetrator or forced to listening to the same minimizing, blaming, and denying, etc., that many of us know all too well. Just at the last meeting, we all heard one of our peers minimize a victim horrifying a story to say just said that she said in the same meeting that we argued whether or not SAPAC training was even worth 90 minutes out of the entire year. After the few times that I tried to stand up for victims in the assembly, I had a member of the assembly blowing up my DM, calling me names, questioning my morals and integrity, and encouraging me to resign. Remarks like these have become all too common in this assembly, and each of them takes accountability away from the perpetrators and gives fuel to the culture. I usually don't share my history, but in this case, I feel like it's relevant because I doubt that I'm the only one. Speaking as a survivor of abuse, the assembly space has become an incredibly triggering and has taken a huge toll on my mental health and well-being. Every meeting has had a great bit of airtime taken up by the rhetorics of perpetrators. And although our lovely speaker has tried to help, best best to help. Thank you, Devin. There's no changing this toxic environment as long as these people hold positions in our assembly. Letting perpetrators and their allies sit in the seat of the assembly is not only inimical to the mission of CSG, but also the assembly makes it extremely unsafe for victims and others alike. In order to protect my own mental health, I'm stepping back from my role in CSG. In the future, I hope that CSG evolves into a trauma-informed space that is accessible to all, including survivors. For any survivor hearing this, please know that you're not alone. If any of you need someone to chat, please do not hesitate to reach out. I wish you all the best of luck for the 15th Assembly. That being said, those two resignations I read are effective immediately, as well as within my report. Last meeting I attached. Hopefully, you all have been the email that I sent. I think it was last Friday. Included. Please fill out the uh, contact sheet. Really need to make sure that all the assembly humans you filled that out. Let me know of any M community issues. If it's being sad face, Slack is very sad face a lot of times. So please let me know that. The Google Drive as well should hold in houses a lot of anything or templates that you're looking for. So please let me know if that's been an issue. As well as I included talks about, is there a motion to extend my time?
Motion to extend by 1 minute.
1 minute has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second, but we're going to do this again in a minute.
Second has been made. Are there any objections?
Can I amend my motion to make it 2 minutes?
Motion has been made for 2 minutes. Is there a second? Second has been made. Are there any objections? All right, hearing and seeing none, that is so moved. So yes, I did see the note about the resignations. I will add that to the agenda. But yeah, so for the summer operations, we have 2 meetings. So it's going to be May 5th, and then the 19th. So that means that we'll have committees that hopefully should be on May 3rd and then the 17th, which means that committee chairs, please let me know when you're meeting on May 3rd so we can hopefully send that out on the calendar. And I included hopefully as well items about the legislation tracker. Our amazing speaker's office is so tea, like they're doing so good. Happy face, especially as legislation gets ready to get passed. We're doing a really good job, I think, of even tracking out. And I'll be working with the communications chair as well. How can we make sure that we're just tracking in a manner how quickly we're sending out those emails to the recipient list as well. And then, yeah, and let me know any questions. That was a little bit long of a verbal report, but that's all I have. Are there any questions for me? Representative Frito?
I guess I just wanted to ask you about the what is it called, speaker office hours and whatnot. Did you see a lot of effect of that last assembly, and are there going to be any changes to that if you think it can be like more of a resource?
I think that I can. So last time the vice speaker and I, we established that Vice Speaker Levine and we will establish doing something like that as well. I think it could be, I think, helpful even like during the summertime, even if it's just like a Zoom office hours as well. And so I think even if it's just a central time that we try to be in the office on Sundays, especially as committees start to happen. Is there a motion to extend my time?
3 minutes.
Motion has been made to extend time by 3 minutes. Is there a second? Second has been made. Are there any objections? All right. Hearing and seeing none. Yeah, so I think for the summertime that like yes, that we can, I think, have those office hours as well. And I think it's helpful. And I think especially even during the academic year and or session, having at least a central time where both leadership is kind of there. It was helpful. So hopefully that answers your question, Tyler.
It does, but I got distracted by an ongoing sports game, but it did answer my question.
So you're good, man. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns that I can answer? All right, wonderful. Hearing and seeing none, we will move forward on our agenda. We have now reached nominations. The Speaker's Office, I have opened up the nominations last week, I believe, for ex officio members. And we're collecting applications for that and trying to move very quick and very fast in on that. I'm really pleased to nominate Miss Larissa King for the position of out-of-state undergraduate ex officio. Does anyone object towards
I
that?
just have a point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to remember this question when you were giving your report, but the parliamentary inquiry question is about the interim appointment of chief of staff. Not that this is controversial. I was just wondering, do we have to vote on that or no?
No. So exec noms already took a vote on giving our interim chief of staff a 30-day appointment. So it just needed an exec noms vote from the committee members.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're good. You're good. With that being said, I answered the question at hand. Does anyone object towards the nomination for Miss King as our first ex officio member. Already hearing and seeing none. Let's give a virtual round of applause for Ms. King. Welcome back to CSG. You're still going to be here on Tuesdays, so we're really happy to have you. I'm really excited. So for the other ex officio meetings as well, please tell any friends or anyone that you think is interested in applying for the ex officio positions. I sent out the email about that, which just houses it houses everything in terms of all the ex officio positions that we have throughout the summer session. I will be trying to nominate people for that. All right, moving forward on the agenda, we will not be having introductions because Nico made that motion, and then we don't have anything in business. We don't have any reconsiderations, which means that we have reached Representative Neely.
Yes, I believe we were still going to discuss the resolution for which the president called this special meeting.
Oh, Representative Nico.
Point of order. Nico's motion did not omit that from it.
I mean, it also, like, I don't know, this is perhaps a question for the parliamentarian rules chair or SGC Burke. I don't know, like, if that's ruled out of order, if that, I don't know how that works, but my motion did exclude that resolution.
I have a point of order for that in response to that. And the point of order would be that if it is out of order, yeah, it basically just can't be voted on and actually like discussed in a matter that could be passed. I guess like in theory, we can still discuss it in committees, but it's also a little unclear in the current way our rules are structured.
Yes, already it is out of order. That being said, we're still going to move forward on the agenda. We now are at the point of matters arising. Are there any members of the body that wishes to speak of any of their choosing? 2 minutes to do so. Sadie?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to reaffirm, as the president has talked about repeatedly, that this meeting is focused on this student Felipe, or rather former student Felipe, who has had this targeted action against him, and I want to reaffirm my extreme disappointment and extreme, like, there are always issues that I have with the university. We have small little issues with the construction. We have small little issues with how clean the bathrooms are. And we have small little issues with every sort of thing. But this is something that is fundamentally incoherent with the morals that I thought this university espoused. This is something that is actively harmful to people that are going to this university. It is harmful to their livelihood. It is harmful to their ability to live. It is harmful. It is not allowing people to live with the dignity that they deserve. So I just want to say again, like, in my capacity, this is reprehensible. The university must do more to help this student, and I call on the university to do so. I cannot believe that the university that I attend and that so many people are excited to attend would not protect me should immigration services target me and put me in, essentially, as one of our as one of our community members put it, a concentration camp. These conditions are absolutely inhumane, horrific, and awful. I cannot express how terrible this situation is, and I cannot express my extreme disappointment. I'm almost at a loss for words, which, if anyone knows me, that's nearly
Sadie,
impossible.
your time has expired.
Thank you.
Referino?
Oh, I just wanted to, I guess, ask, do you want your time to be extended or no?
I mean, sure, yeah.
Let's go with 1 minute and 1 second exactly.
Motion has been made to extend time by 1 minute and 1 second. Is there a second? Is there a second? A second has been made. Are there any? Nico?
I have a point of order. Can time be extended in matters arising?
SGC Burke? Or Madam Chair Mullins?
I'll revise my motion then to extend time by suspending the rules by 1 minute and 1 second exactly.
Motion has been made to suspend.
That works.
Motion has been made to suspend the rules to extend the time by 1 minute. Is there a second? Second made. Are there any objections? All right, hearing and seeing none. 1 minute, Sadie.
Yeah, so if anyone knows me, the fact that I'm at a loss for words at how, horrible this situation is extremely surprising considering I'm a yapper. So I want to reiterate that the university not protecting this student should concern not just it shouldn't concern just our international or immigrant populations. It should concern all of us, not only because there is a safety issue for every single one of us on campus. If the Trump administration or any sort of government official just decides that you potentially don't have your citizenship in order, you would not be protected by the university, and that is extremely disappointing, and that is so awful to imagine. But also, as moral people, as ethical people on this campus, I think it is insane to accept that the university is just letting this happen. It is absolutely bonkers to think that we have to just sit by and, as moral people of this campus, have to accept that our institution that we pay tuition dollars for would allow this to happen. And not only that, but we cannot speak out about it as our positions as reps, that we are essentially muzzled.
Your time has expired.
I'm good, thanks.
You're good. Chair Mullins. Is this
my speaker like half the time does not work. I apologize. While this was ruled out of order, it does not mean that you cannot stop from creating a similar resolution in the future while being concerned with why this was ruled out of order and being careful with word choice. It does not mean that you cannot write something of similar with those concerns in mind for the future. And also, I would just like to say at my past college, I left this comment on the resolution itself, but at my past college, we had the same rule where you couldn't support a singular case or a singular person while being a part of the student government or advocate on their behalf. So we would simply advocate as students without our names attached to the student government. And I believe the same thing would work here because there isn't really any rules against that advocating as a student yourself when you have no attachment to CSG or any of the other student governments. While I understand that puts less of an emphasis on it, it is a way to move forward.
All right, thank you. Are there any other members of the body that wish to speak during matters arising? Representative Neely?
Yes, thank you, Representative Malik, for everything, for everything you have said. I recognize we are under constraint. We should be having some choice words for the Office of the General Counsel, but now is not the time or the place to go into that. So what I will say is, let us commit to doing whatever we can to help the student in immigration detention. And if we find a place, and if we run into a place where we cannot act, then we should go back and go to the places where we can act. And I'm more than willing to work on that with anybody to do what we can do as a student government to keep all of our students safe, both all together and one at a time, for the issues that may be faced. Let's be safe, let's be respectful, let's be ethical, and I will follow with more updates on the Slack.
Thank you, Representative Neely. Hadley?
I'm not really sure. Is it point of personal privilege? I'm not sure, but I was just wondering if it would be out of order if we sent in a bond letter and included our name in school, but not the fact that we're CSG representatives. Would that be against the code or violation?
Can you clarify whether you're saying like you're an LSA rep or
No, just a student in LSA or wherever school.
that would be fine. To my point, you would have to double check, but to my knowledge, there wouldn't be anything against that because you are a student of the school.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the body wishing to speak during matters arising? Bushy?
Just like obviously I think this is a terrible situation. And it came from a mess up by our school, by our university. I certainly wonder though if the general counsel is maybe doing this. Obviously, I really hope that our university supports this student, and I hope they continue to fight against ICE on our campus. But I certainly wonder if the reason that our hands are tied is so we don't endanger any of our own students or endanger any more, or like, stir anything up and cause a heightened presence by ICE on our own campus. While I understand that it may be very frustrating, I think it is very frustrating that we can't act on behalf of someone who is a part of our community, and try to support them in ways that we know how. I certainly wonder if this is not malicious by the university, but rather a safeguard to further protect our community. Obviously, I think that there are ways that the university could be a bit more proactive, and I'm not advocating and saying that the university is right. I just wonder, I'm just saying I don't think all the hate is necessarily warranted, and I think it is important to consider the consequences of us taking such an action on behalf of the student body, on something that could wind up, causing us to maybe get more press than we bit off to chew. So that's all I had to say. I'm not trying to like.
Bushy, your time has expired.
All right. Yeah, you guys get the idea.
Representative Turner?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in response to Representative Bushy, and I do have a lot of respect for what he said. If we don't protect students now, at what point do we protect students? Under the current administration, it's only a matter of time until this is a more and more frequent occurrence, and it is our job to protect the students at this university. So if we're saying we're not going to start now because what if it gets worse? What are we going to say when it gets worse? Are we just going to continue to defer justice in order to protect ourselves from the admin disliking us? I have to question, at what point do we step in if that's the stance we're taking?
Am I allowed to respond?
No.
Good question, my fault.
Not unless someone suspends the rules.
Nico?
I'll just add myself to the list and I'll yield my time to William.
Okay, thanks, Nico. Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't act. I'm saying that we should consider, if we do act, the possible consequences that this could have for our community body, or for our student body. Like I said, I'm not advocating and saying that we shouldn't do anything. I'm saying that we need to be very calculated. We need to be very careful. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do anything. We should do something. We just need to be very careful with how we do it. And I think working closely with administration could make that a bit easier assuming that the university decides to take a more proactive approach alongside our concerns. So yes, I do think it is important to stand up to the problem, but we need to be careful. We don't want to invite more ICE presence on our campus. We can't we that's like pushing the obviously we're pushing the problem further down the road if we continue to neglect it. So I think we should act now. However, suffering later, it doesn't beget suffering now. So I just think we should be careful. I'm not advocating and saying that we shouldn't do anything. I think we should do something. But I'm just saying the university might have more reasons than what we perceive as the rationale.
Thank you. Taylor?
Yeah, I will definitely say this is kind of a very concerning manner. Just the position that we're in. Even in my previous position as co-director of government relations, I faced the same backlash from administration when trying to advocate for a lot of very important federal issues. But what I will say from learning from that process is that it is still important to advocate and not be afraid to stand up for students in this room. And also, I just want us to remember that I am one of the delegates for the University of Michigan representing the United States Student Association. That is a national organization that is promoting advocacy on a national level. So I just wonder if maybe we can navigate or kind of loophole the situation by utilizing the pillar of the United States Student Association instead of our central student government capacity in order to advocate for students in terms of ICE on a national level. And maybe that would kind of mitigate kind of the intensive burden on the central student government. I just think in future responses that there will be more federal changes and more really salient issues for students. And it's important that we kind of organize our priority as a student government in terms of how we will move forward for advocating for students, because there are student governments on various campuses that are taking that active stance and saying, no, we are going to stand up against administration and fight for students in the way that we feel is most efficient. So I do think moving forward, just aligning with a central priority in which we want to take stance on instead of kind of just the status quo that has always been set before is something we can always consider.
Thank you. Sanvi?
I was honestly just gonna say the same thing that Taylor said. I'm wondering if there's a way that we can partner with contacts from other big schools or Big Ten schools or wider organizations. I'm sure there are national organizations that would work with us on this. I don't know how we could partner with them in a way that would loophole this situation. But we have to do something. I totally understand what you said, Rep Bushy, about kind of being careful and making sure to protect ourselves. But as someone who has had personal experiences with immigration issues, both of my parents are immigrants and not citizens until recently, and even that was a struggle to get them there. I feel for this situation so much, and I genuinely think we should be doing everything we can actively.
All righty. Newly appointed ex officio, Miss King.
Hi everyone. Like Devin said, my name is Larissa. For those of you who don't know me, one of the things I do in addition to CSG is that I'm currently the director of communications for the Association of Big Ten Students. I know that people have just been talking about if we can partner with other universities on this issue, and that is something that ABTS is currently exploring. If anybody goes on our Instagram, we did put out a statement condemning ICE on on our Big Ten campuses, especially in relation to what was going on in Minnesota. Minnesota has taken a very active stance against ICE, especially considering what was going on in Minneapolis. So if anybody has any questions about that, that's definitely a conversation that we can have, and I can connect you with those contacts. On that same vein, ABTS did attempt to host an ICE roundtable that was unfortunately very poorly attended just due to the timing of it and the limited notice that we had. We are planning on running that event back. So if there is any if there is any interest in attending something like that, please let me know. I can bring it to the rest of the executive board as our term kind of wraps up, as well as bring it to the new executive board once they are appointed in about a month or so. But yeah, so if anybody has any interest in collaborating with Big Ten schools on this issue, please feel free to reach out to me. That's kind of the whole point of ABTS and something that we can definitely begin facilitating, because again, those conversations have already been started, and that's really been a priority of ABTS this year and will continue to be in the coming years. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Representative Freedom.
Sorry, my cat is right in my face, but I will give this speech and we'll make it work, I guess. Yeah, no, first and foremost, I wanted to say that the president wanting this meeting here is something that I do appreciate 100%. I think that's an underutilized tool of CSG. I do think that it's important because we are missing an existential issue that prevents us from getting this work done. And it's that us wanting solidarity for the students and advocating for students, especially when something is pretty much universally condemned by our student body, is undermined fundamentally by the work we do if we are not communicating with one another effectively and cordially, and we are not working together. And so these are some very, very brief things that I think we can change to work more effectively. One, disagreement is not only not unproductive, but it should be encouraged as long as there's a compromise at the end of that disagreement. Number two, otherizing people and ostracizing them because you had a disagreement fundamentally makes passing bills harder, especially if we all agree on them. Number three, uncomfortable or difficult conversations are bound to happen in CSG. We have very serious topics, and I understand when people need breaks from those things. I need breaks myself from some of those things, especially when it comes to disability rights. But if your expectation is that you will never be uncomfortable in this body, then you are in the wrong spot. Number five, everyone here is a human being. No one is perfect. No one is perfectly good. Nobody is perfectly evil. We have to start treating each other like human beings and working through our differences, because otherwise bills like this that are out of order or advocacy like this will become disjointed. We will spend more time on fighting each other rather than fighting for the common good that is so blatantly obvious to everyone. So I will ask again, what does the 16th Assembly want to be? Can we move on from the 15th? Can we do better and work through our differences for not just the benefit of Philippe, because he's unfortunately not alone. There are many more students who've had family members in detention, and us taking any amount of energy away from that is not in service of that. And it's beneath the representatives of the student body and beneath anyone at the University of Michigan.
Thank you. Are there any other members wishing to speak during matters arising? All right. Hearing and seeing none, we are moving forward on the agenda. How are we feeling about shout outs? Is this something we want to do, skip? Any reactions?
We gotta do them.
No skip, no skip. This okay. Well, all right. It sounds like we're doing shout outs tonight. Please quickly click on the Google form. Do a quick little shout out. I'll give like 1 or so minutes, and our amazing secretary Rosenthal will read out the shout outs. So we'll give a couple seconds for that. Hi, buddy.
This has been an interesting meeting, everybody. How we doing? This is my little cat, Glooby. He's a little... I mean, he's not that little. I mean, look at him. This has been an interesting meeting, everybody. How we doing?
All right, everyone, can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, let's get into this. Nico, your headshot is so handsome. President Louth, getting us at least talking about the important issues. Sadie, in all caps, my goat, thank you for advocating even when it's difficult. Everyone with exams, all the best with finals, don't forget to take breaks and get enough rest. William Bushy, for achieving class consciousness. Our community concerns speakers, speaking up about what matters to students. Sadie, resolutions chair, putting in work, keep advocating for our most vulnerable. Summit, for having this meeting and meeting with admin on this support important issue. Thank you for being diligent. Everyone who is brave enough to speak out against complacency. Keep up the good work. Mr. Lortizo, you're a great individual. And that is it.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it for the shout outs. With that being said, we have now reached the end of the agenda. With that being said, as well, Secretary Rosenthal, can you please conduct the closing roll call?
I absolutely can. Representative Sivak. Representative Mullins.
Here.
Representative Bustillo.
They are here. They said in chat. Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Representative Parrish. Representative McClive. Perfect. Got you. Representative Clark. Representative Garcia. Representative Smith. Representative Margie.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Wilson. Representative Turner.
Here.
Thank you. Speaker Woodruff is here.
Here.
Representative Robertson. Representative Dross. Representative Levine. Representative Neely.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Merchant. Representative Batson.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Trudeau.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Avram. Representative Lortizo.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Ferreira. Representative Schneider. Representative Bruce. Representative Wordley. Representative Johnson. Representative Samaha. Representative Zhao. Representative Bookout.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Torres de Navarra. I got you, Nico. Representative Chiguru Pati.
Here.
Thank you. Representative Malik.
Here.
Representative O'Boyle. Representative Harris. Representative Polnitz Thomas.
Here.
Representative Wang.
Here.
Representative Fiorito.
Sorry, I'm here.
You're good. Representative Hart. Representative Bushy.
Here.
Thank you. President Louth.
Here.
Vice President Perez.
Here.
All right, we're going to go through one more time. Representative Sivak. Representative Parrish, Representative Clark, Representative Garcia, Representative Smith, Representative Wilson, Representative Robertson, Representative Dross, Vice Speaker Levine, Representative Merchant, Representative Shevsky, Representative Avram, Representative Hubbs, Representative Ferreira, Representative Schneider, Representative Bruce, Representative Woodley, Representative Johnson, Representative Samaha, Representative Zhao, Representative Tomasello.
I just wanted to say this was a weird meeting, but could have gone worse, I guess. I'm most disappointed in the fact that CSG continues to like double down on being authoritarian. Well, we'll see you in tomorrow, I think. I'm going to do another stream. This was fun.